Kendall here with Lousy Llama Creations, here with Peanut, my cat, and today we're going to be crocheting this cardinal. This is an easy project that takes you through everything. I marked this a little harder than beginner just because of the color changes that we're going to do, but follow along. This video will still show you how to do everything and teach you how to make this little bird. For supplies, you're going to need medium weight for yarn in this red and black, 8mm safety eyes, tapestry needle, stitch marker, stuffing, and a 5mm crochet hook. I also wanted to say I will be using clips from other videos, both the bee and the yellow bird videos, and popping them in because the body is the exact same way as the yellow bird. The eyes are just different, so I'm gonna have a pop-up that says, hey, put the eyes here for the cardinal. It's the same thing. I'm not going to go over 1,000 times when it's the exact same because I liked how I explained it in that first video. Let's grab our supplies and jump right in. So we're going to start with our yellow yarn, and we're going to start by making a magic ring or a magic circle. It's the same thing. I'm going to take my crochet hook. I have my yarn. This is our tail, our dead end, the end of your yarn. This is the yarn that's attached to the ball or the skein. You're going to take it and wrap it around your hand to form an X. You're going to hold it in the middle. Hook goes under, then over, and we're going to scoop this underneath. Just like that. We're going to twist it up and pull it off our hands. And then do this thing called a chain, which is when we pull our yarn through our loop. So I'm going to put the yarn on the crochet hook and pull through. And that's our magic ring. But let me show you again. I have my tail, wrap around to make an X, hold in the middle, under, over, pull through, twist up, and then do our chain. We're then going to make 6 single crochets in this loop. Our single crochets are one of the smallest, most basic stitches of crochet. You'll find it in tons of the stuffed animal or amigurumi patterns. Crocheters love single crochets. To do one, you're going to insert your hook in the middle of the loop, yarn over, which is when we place the yarn on top of the hook, pull through. So we have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over again, and then pull through both loops. And that's 1 single crochet. So again, I'm going to go through the middle, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops, and that's a second. Through the middle, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both. That was stitch 3. So I'm going to do 4, 5, and 6. Each stitch is this little V, little oval. Can't see it too well on the sides. If I pull it apart a little bit, you can see that's a stitch. I'm going to take my tail and pull it so that it actually forms this cute little ring. And now we have the start of our crochet piece. These are our stitch markers, which are like little clothespin, safety pin looking things. Safety pins, not clothespins. Looking things. We're going to attach it into the last stitch that we made, that V. Close it up. This is going to help us find the beginning and the end when we're working in our rounds. because we're going to be working in a spiral, so we're just going to keep on going around and around and around. So this will make sure we know the beginning and the end of each round. Our magic ring with the 6 single crochets, that was 1 round. So now we're going on to round 2, which according to our pattern says increase 6 times. An increase is just 2 single crochets next to each other. So we have 6 stitches. At the end of round 2, we should have 12. So we're going to put 2 stitches in each of the 6, so that we have 12. So we're just doubling it. I'm going to insert my hook into the first stitch that we made. The first one's always a little tight. It's not you, it's the crochet piece. Just kind of wiggle, stick it in. I'm going to yarn over and pull through. Yarn over, pull through again. So I have 1 single crochet. Before we move on, I'm going to stick my crochet hook in the same stitch and do another single crochet. So now we have 2 in 1 stitch. I like to picture it like a little flower, so we have like a small beginning, but then we want even petals on the side, so it kind of gets bigger evenly. I'm going to move to the next stitch. Again, I'm working in a spiral, so I'm literally just scooting over and do another increase. So that's 1 single crochet, and then in the same hole, doing a second. And then I'll do that again. And again. Moving over. I'm in my last one, and this is my cat Cashew. He likes to help with videos sometimes. I'm sure his sister Peanut's gonna help too. I'm gonna take out my stitch marker. I'm gonna do our increase. And then I'm going to put the stitch marker back in to the new end of the round. So we're kind of moving it up each time. And now we have this small little circle, which is round 1 and round 2. You should have 12 single crochets at the end of this round. And you can count them by looking at those V's. Grab my tapestry needle. So like that's 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do this all the way around, so you have 12. The next round, round 3, it says we're going to do a single crochet and then an increase. And there's a comma in that bracket, which is important. So in the next stitch, we're going to do 1 single crochet. And then we're done with that. In the next stitch, that comma means we're moving over. We're going to be doing an increase, which is again those 2 single crochets. So this repetition for the round is a little series of 3. 1 and then an increase. Or in my head sometimes I'll say double. So 1 and then a double. And we're going to repeat this. So the next stitch we're going to do 1. And then the next stitch a double or an increase. And we're going to do this for the whole round. So 1 and then a double. One, then a double. And I know I'm crocheting fast. Hey, I've done it since I was 14 years old. Don't forget, 1, pause this video. I will still be here for you. As well as that in the corner, the little gears button, you can change the speed. So yeah, I'll sound a little funny, but you can watch me slow down these stitches and it might be a little easier. You can see at the end, I removed my stitch marker, did my last increase, and then I'm going to put it back. And our circle's getting a little rounder, a little bigger. You can tell it kind of curls up a little bit. That's okay. That's normal. No biggie. If it's curling up a lot, you might have messed up the pattern a little bit. You might have put too many increases. So you might want to take it out and kind of make sure you're counting. At the end of this row, you should have 18. Another thing to remember, this is our tail from that very beginning magic ring. This is the inside. So if you're looking at it and you're like, mine's kind of ugly. My stitches aren't clean. This tail's in the way. What am I doing? Boop. Just turn it around. If you followed my tutorial for my crochet plants, a lot of people will show me their crocheted pot and they'll be like, hey, mine's ugly and it doesn't sit weird and it sits super weird and it's off. And then I'm like, flip it inside out. Boom. They did amazing work and they did it right. You just gotta flip it around. Next round, you're gonna start seeing a pattern here. It says 2 single crochets and then an increase. So single crochet 2 is different than an increase. So we're gonna do 1, 1, and then an increase. In newer crochet patterns, as in the past 10 years, you'll notice the word increase. Sometimes people use 2 single crochets instead. I find that confusing. If you follow any Lousy Llama crochet patterns, I will always say increase versus single crochet 2. If I'm saying single crochet 2, I mean 1 and then 1 and then an increase. Well, let's not get confusing here. So we're going to do 1, 1, and then an increase. One, 1, and then an increase. And we'll do this for the whole round. One, 1, increase. One, 1, increase. 1, 1, take out the marker, increase. And then put it back in. And now we have a bigger circle. Again, you can see mine curving a little bit. That's okay. Okay, I'm at the end of the round. And now instead of doing more increases, we're going to do rounds of single crochets. So a little tip, instead of putting this through the stitch like we normally do, I'm actually going to put it on the side of the stitch. That way we don't have to move it every single round. This works when we're doing 1 single crochet in every stitch. Not so much when you're doing something precise like 2 single crochets and then an increase, because you want that to be really exact. But for this, it's okay if it's not. So we're not going to do any increases. We're just going to do 5 rounds of single crochet. So you're literally just going to do 1 single crochet in every single stitch. We'll do this for 5 rounds, but I'll show you when we get around to the stitch marker how we're kind of ignoring it and continuing on. This also works because we're crocheting in a spiral instead of joining for each round. We just continuously keep on working. All right, coming around, I'm not going to move my stitch marker. I'm just continuing to crochet. See? And now I can see I did 1. So I'm going to go around 5 times and it sort of lines up with the stitch marker. So go ahead and single crochet for 5 rounds. Okay, this was 5 rounds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, I kind of lined it up with the stitch marker. Now I'm going to take this out and put it back in our stitch because our next round is going to be more precise like we did earlier. The next round is going to be 3 single crochets and then an increase. So similar to the 2 single crochets and then an increase, but with 3. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, and then an increase, and we'll repeat that for a total of 6 times all the way around. 1, 2, 3, increase, 2, 3, increase, I also want to take a note here, if my piece looks bigger than yours, I'm using some spare yarn I have, which I believe is a little different than the yarn you have in your kits. This yarn is feeling very stiff today. I'm not exactly sure why. But if you're like, mine's coming out smaller, don't worry, that's completely normal. This is just really stiff today. Okay, coming around the end, taking out our marker, doing the last increase. Yeah, you look so big. My sample was not this big. Now I'm gonna put my stitch marker on the side again, because we're gonna be doing more rounds of single crochet, if I can get it. We are gonna do 6 rounds of single crochets. So just 1 single crochet in every stitch for a total of 6 rounds. Now you can see our piece is starting to actually look like a bird, or at least a blob, which I think birds look like. We're gonna add our eyes. So I'm just gonna set my hook aside just so it's out of the way. I have my 8mm safety eyes and backs. 1, oh my goodness, 2. We're gonna place them between rounds 4 and 5, about 4 stitches apart. So I'm gonna start at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put them between row 4 and 5, about 4 stitches apart. Now I'm gonna put my backs on. I put my little washers on and click. Washers on and click. Push it back out. And we gotta finish sewing the body and doing our decreases. So an increase is 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So if you can imagine, a decrease is combining 2 single crochets into 1, or 2 any stitches, but for this project it's going to be single crochets. Move my stitch marker back up because we want to be exact again. We're going to repeat the same thing like backwards. So our last round of increases was 3 single crochets increase. Now we're going to do 3 single crochets decrease. So I'm going to do 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then a decrease. For a decrease, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, kind of like the beginning of a single crochet. Instead of finishing it off, I'm going to insert my hook into the stitch next to it. Yarn over, pull through, so you have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3. Because you're combining 2 stitches, you want to make sure you pull a little extra tight when you're making it, just because you're literally pulling your crochet piece closer together. And if they're loose, you'll see the stuffing. So I'll do my 3 single crochets again. 1, 2, 3, and then decrease, insert, yarn over, pull through, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, so you have 3 loops, yarn over, pull through all 3. And you're going to repeat this for the round. So 1, 2, 3, decrease, 1, 2, 3, decrease, 1, 2, 3, decrease, 1, 2, 3, and then our very last decrease for the round. The next round is going to be 2 single crochets and then a decrease. So 1, 2, decrease, all the way around, pulling nice and tight. 1, 2, decrease, 1, 2, decrease, 1, 2, decrease, 1, 2, decrease, and 1, 2, taking out our marker, decrease. Next round is probably what you would have guessed, 1 single crochet and then a decrease. I know it's getting tight, it's getting stiff, but you are physically pulling your piece together, so hang in there, it's okay. This takes a little bit getting used to. 1 single crochet and then a decrease. Decreases was something that took me a little bit to master as a beginner. They used to be really loose, so you can like see all my stuffing. It takes a lot to like remember to tighten your tension and do things a little differently. That's okay. One of the cool parts about this project is that the decreases are on the bottom. So if your top is pretty, no one's really gonna see the bottom, especially if you have it displayed on like a little shelf or something, or on your desk. No one really sees it. Okay. 1 more decrease. Okay, we're gonna pause here for a sec and we're actually gonna stuff our little bird. I have my pouch of stuffing. We're not gonna need all of this. The best stuffing technique is to pull apart into small clumps and place it individually. That way you kind of have control over the shape. And it also uses less stuffing. If you just ball the whole thing up, you'll use all the stuffing, but you actually don't really need it, especially if you want it to remain nice and fluffy. So I'm just going to keep on pulling small clumps. Obviously placing at the head first, because that's further away. And then the body. I want my bird Blitz to be as round as possible. So I'm going to stuff him extra on the sides. I'm also, you can tell when I'm stuffing, I kind of pull my working yarn away. If you stuff it inside, that's fine. You'll just have to pull it out and that might pull out some of the stuffing. So it's just kind of easier if you pull it around before. Okay, he's getting there. It's looking like a little pill or he looks like a peep, really, is what it looks like. But we don't got peeps here. He is Blitz the bird, so he's gonna have to look like a bird. I'm shaping him, kind of forming his neck a little bit more. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Cute. Yeah, see, this is all the extra stuffing. You'll have extra stuffing. On the bottom, we need to do 6 decreases. The bottom is difficult. The last round of decreases is usually difficult. It's hard to see and you might skip some stitches, and that's okay. We're just gonna try to get 6 decreases. If you don't, that is a-okay. And you'll just close it up a different way. So I'm gonna do 1. I kind of pinch mine, even though we worked so hard on the shaping. We'll fix it at the end, because it's easier for me to get my hook into my stitches. So my second decrease out of 6. 3. Oh yeah, it's tight. 4. I think that's all I got right now. I don't think I can fit the 6th one because of how tight it is, and that's okay. The hole's still pretty small. I'm gonna fasten off, so cut that nice long tail, pull our loop through, and we're gonna sew up the bottom. So if your bottom's a little gappy, it has some spaces in it, no big deal. You could fix it now. Put my tail on my needle, and you can close the bottom however you want. I like doing it the cinch closure way, which means I'm going to go in all the stitches on the outside and pull tight. Just like that, and pull. I'm going to add a knot just so it doesn't come undone. Slide my knot all the way to the end. Boom. Now we don't just want to cut our yarn because it can come undone. We're going to do this thing called hiding our tails. With a 3D object like Blitz, it's super easy. My tail's on my tapestry needle. I'm going to poke right through where our tail is. Make sure a couple inches through and poke out anywhere else. Don't pull too tight, you'll change the shape. And then you can cut this off. So now for it to come undone, it's going to have to come out multiple inches and through the knot and through the fastening off, and that's more unlikely. Switching back to the official Cardinal and not the yellow bird, as you can see, it looks very similar. The eyes are just in a different spot, but here is our finished body, and now we're going to make the beak. So for the beak, we're going to start with our red yarn, and you're going to start it the exact same way you started the body, with that magic ring and 6 single crochets. So if you're new to crocheting, go ahead and pause that video and rewatch it from the beginning, because there I'm going to go nice and slow. Here I'm going to go a little faster, just so this video isn't insanely long. I'll do my magic ring and my 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Tighten it with our little circle. Next round, instead of increases, we're going to single crochet 6. So I'm just going to go in every single stitch and single crochet 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, oh my goodness, it's a little tight and that's okay. 5 and 6. You can always take your needle and kind of pull out the stitches a little bit if you're struggling getting your hook into there. I just did 6, but I'm actually going to change colors on this last stitch. So I single crocheted 5, I just took out my 6. Single crocheted 5. To change colors, I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, just like the beginning of a single crochet. But instead of yarning over with our red, we're going to yarn over with the black. So you just place the yarn on top. I'm going to hold it and pull through. And I'm going to tighten my red. And now I'm going to start crocheting with black. I leave the red behind, I'm on to black. Our next round's going to be 6 increases. I'm going to separate the tails just so I don't start crocheting with them. I want to crochet with my black that's attached to the skein. I know there's a lot of tails. Bear with me as we finish this next 2 rounds and we'll clean it all up. We're going to do 6 increases. And remember that increase is just 2 single crochets in every stitch. That first stitch, you can't pull too tight because it'll slide through. So I have my first single crochet and then an increase. Okay, so that's 1 increase. Next one, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then my last one we'll do 11 and 12. 11 and 12. So the next round is going to be 12 single crochets, 1 in each stitch. You can use a stitch marker for something so small. I think it's easier to keep track in my head. So I'm just going to single crochet 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And I have my little beak. I'm going to cut a nice long tail black. I can cut off my red and fasten off. With these inside tails, I'm going to tie them together and trim them. And I'm not going to, when I sew this on, I'm not going to stuff it. Just because it's so small, I find when I stuff small pieces, they kind of always show up. The stuffing like peeks through the stitches and I don't like that. So if you leave your tails a little longer, you can use them as stuffing. I'm just going to trim them like right here, like 1 inch. And then when I sew it on, I tuck them inside and I use the black to sew onto the body. I have my body and my tapestry needle. I'm going to put the black on my needle. Place our beak right between the eyes and I'll sew. 100 different ways to sew on pieces. I always say just do what works best for you as long as your pieces don't come undone. I'll show you 2 different techniques. For the beak, I like to go through the beak, through the body, up through the beak. So beak and body, we're going to go through. And then up in the same spot, just on the beak. I know it's black yarn, so it's a little hard to see. As I say, just get your piece on. We are beginners, we are learning. It doesn't really matter. Especially for a project like this, your stitches are not going to show too much unless you're doing crazy big sewing things. For this small space, we are all good. So I'm going to finish going around. And I'll show you, we're going to hide our tail the exact same way that we did with the body. So yeah, I pulled through a little bit of the stuffing. I'm gonna pick it off, but that's why I don't stuff pieces this small. It always pokes through. And that's just not a look I like, especially not for black yarn. I'm at the end. I'm just gonna stick my tail through the body, somewhere in the back or the bottom. Trim, shows a little bit. Poke it through with my scissors. Now he's starting to look like a little birdie. Let's make the wings and the tail. For the wings and the tail, they are made the exact same way, so you're going to want to make 3 of them. We're going to start with our red yarn and do that magic ring 6 single crochets. Going even further, we're going to go to 6 increases and then 1 single crochet, 1 increase, exactly like how we started the body. So if you want to pause, go back to the beginning. You're going to be doing the first 3 rounds the exact same as you started the body. Magic ring, 6 single crochets, 6 increases, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Add my stitch marker, The next round is 1 single crochet, and then in the next stitch do an increase, 1 single crochet, and then an increase, 1 increase, 1 increase, 1 increase, 1, and then an increase. This is where we're going to do things a little different. It's going to start the same though. We're going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase 3 times. So we do 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and then an increase. Repeat that sequence 2 more times. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, increase, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, increase. On the last stitch of this increase, because remember there's 2 in each increase, so for the second one, we're going to change color to black by yarning over with that new black color. And we're going to finish this round of 2 single crochet increase, but in black. So we'll do 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet increase, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet increase, and then 1 more, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, remove the marker, 3 single crochet, no, 1, 2, increase. In the next stitch, we're going to do a slip stitch. That just helps our wing look a little rounder, a little smoother. You insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through again. We have our wing. So I'm going to cut off black, cut off red, fasten off. What we're going to do is we're going to weave in these tails, which is a little harder because it's flat. I'm going to weave them all in except for our long red piece. We'll use this to sew. But I'm going to weave in my other 3. To do it on a flat object, I'm going to put my tail in, and our goal is to go between the stitches. So I'm going to pinch it between my fingers and push my needle in between, trying to get in between the stitches. And I'm going to go do that in 3 different directions. So I did in one direction, I'm going to pick another one. Go through like a 1/2 inch or so because our thing's so small. And get completely tangled up. Don't do that. Make sure your other tails are out of the way. Just like that. And it's still a little tangled. That's okay. Everything in crochet you can undo if you need to. I'm going to choose one more direction. Again, going between the yarn. And then trim. And now our piece is all weaved in. But we have to do our black pieces now because we're leaving that red. So I'm going to put it on the needle. These are a little easier just because it's black and it's harder to see your tail, but that means it hides better. I'm just going to weave it into the black area. If I weaved it in the red, you would see it probably on the other side. This is the back side. So if it came to it, it's okay, but I'd prefer not to see it if I don't have to. So I did it in 3 directions. I did one this way, and then back again. The more directions you do, the less likely it is to come apart. And that's because to come undone, it would have to pull through 3 different directions and then through your knot at the end when you fasten off. So it's unlikely. And we just want to give ourselves the best chance at it not coming undone. So I always do 3, and that helps keep it pretty secure. Now our piece only has this one tail that we're going to use for sewing. So I'm going to put it on my needle. Remember, you're going to want to make 3 of these. 2 is wings, and then 1 is a tail. The tail will go on the back like this. The wings go on the side. I like to have this black kind of pointing more towards the bottom. And then I'll show you a whip stitch, which is a different way to sew on things. So I'm holding my piece. I'm only going to sew along the red. And I'm going to flip them around 100 times. There we go. I'm going to go to the body, to the wing. Body to the wing. Only on the outside stitches of the wing. This type of sewing kind of gives you some movement. I like doing it for like arms and legs on like a doll or something because they're flexible and they move. Ugh, I pulled through some stuffing. That's okay. I can poke it through with my scissors later. But I'm just gonna go around. You can sew all the way around if you want. I personally don't, just because I want to be able to bend the wings a little bit. But it depends what style and what look you're going for. All right, so this would be my last one. See, I like that it kind of like flips up if I need it to. I'm gonna hide my tail into the body and fasten off. Again, you'll do the same thing on the other side and for the tail. To embroider his feet, I'm going to cut a nice long piece of black, put it through my needle, starting on the bottom. I want to poke out where I want the first foot. I kind of like them below the eyes. That's just how I've been lining it up when I've been making my bird series. Pull through, but leave about 1 inch at the end so it doesn't come undone. And then you just embroider feet however you want it to look like. For some of the birds I've been doing thicker lines and thinner lines. If you want thicker, you go over it more than once. For the cardinal though, I've been doing thin lines. I just feel like it's more cardinal-like, if that makes sense. Oh, it's a little uneven. That's kind of annoying. Yeah, I'm gonna undo my last one. Me and embroidery, I am not the world's greatest at it, but it really adds such a pop of character to your crochet pieces. I'll go more to the side. Yeah, look at that. I just got 1 foot. Okay, I'll do the same thing on the other side, making sure I'm lined up in the same stitches. Unless you don't want the feet to be even, then I suppose you can do whatever you want. I like my feet even. There. And if you see me pulling through the stuffing, I want to fix that in just a moment. Okay, and then back down anywhere on the bottom. I'm going to trim the other piece, and I'm going to poke these down with my scissors or my tapestry needle or my crochet hook, whatever you need to do. You can tie a knot in them. I personally don't really have issues with my embroidery coming undone, especially not for amigurumi. So I just do it this method. Now I can pick off all the extra stuffing pieces. Oh, she's so cute. Oh my goodness. He's so small. I've been adding these little pieces on top. So I'm going to cut a piece of red. Put my tapestry needle on it. And I'm going to stitch it on his head and tie a knot. I've been playing around with different style knots. The best I've gotten is this one where you pull both strings through. Put the knot as close to the base of the head as you can. trim big, separate the strands with scissors or a tapestry needle or your fingers, whatever works for you. I usually do this like on my leg or on a blanket or something, so I can kind of push through without it's scratching anything or whatever. Okay, I'm gonna push that through. Okay, cutie. I want to poke the knot back into the head. I know it looks like I'm hurting him, but he's okay. And then I'm gonna trim this to however you like it. So cute. I still need to make my wing and my tail and sew those on, but that is how you make our little cardinal. Thank you so much for joining me and Peanut as we made Cardi the Cardinal. I hope you had a great time making this pattern. If you want to stay up to date on everything Lousy Llama, you can follow us at TikTok and Instagram at Lousy Llama Creations. That's where I post all the new kits and patterns and designs and everything new coming to Lousy Llama. If you like this video and you love this tutorial, if you could please like and subscribe, comment saying how much you liked it and what videos you're looking forward to. I'm doing a whole bird series. We're gonna have 5 birds. I've already seen the cardinal. The yellow bird is already up, but I also am making a pigeon, a seagull, and a parrot. These will all be released as crochet kits on my website on November 1st. So if you don't want to, Cashew's here too. So if you don't want to worry about getting all the colors and the certain supplies, I have it all in a little pre-made kit just for you. All you need is a pair of scissors. The kits also come with a PDF pattern that goes through all the instructions and has pictures and step-by-step pictures of each stitch and everything you need to crochet. Again, thank you so much for joining me today on this video. My name is Kendall and I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye!